very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to the inauguration ceremony of the 7th Sri Lanka Internal Medical Conference, SIMCON 2023. Please rise to receive the ceremonial procession as they make their way towards the main hall. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If I may ask you to please remain standing while I invite the dignitaries to grace the head table. President, Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe. Chief guest, Dr. Palitha Abeykoon. Guest of honor, Professor Jyotirmoy Pal. Orator, Professor Arun and the two joint secretaries, Dr. Kolitha Jayasundara and Professor Chamara Dalugama. I would like to invite the dignitaries to take their positions at the head table. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem of Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka Mata, Appa Sri Lanka, Namo, 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 Namo Mata.
ladies and gentlemen, to commence tonight's proceedings and enlighten this evening with the blissful light of the oil lamp, I would like to invite the following dignitaries to come forward to light the traditional oil lamp. The President of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe. Our chief guest tonight, Dr. Palitha Abeykoon. Our guest of honor, Professor Jyotirmoy Paul. Professor Arun, our orator for tonight. Professor Senaka Rajapaksa, past president of SLCIM. Professor Tilak Veeraratne, past president of SLCIM. Professor Tilak Jailath, past president of SLCIM. Dr. Harsha Sachitchandra, past president of SLCIM, and Dr. Ganaka Senaratne, immediate past president of SLCIM. Dr. Suranga Manilgama, president-elect. Vice President, Dr. Madhuvanti Hettiarachchi. Our Treasurer, Dr. Priyamali Jayasekara. Dr. Kolitha Jayasundara, Joint Secretary, and Professor Chamara Dalugama, Joint Secretary. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You may now take your seats. The seed Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, by then the Sri Lanka Society of Internal Medicine, marked its inception in 2016 in the sacred city of Kandy. Over the short span of 7 years, with the tireless efforts and unwavering commitment of the past presidents, councils, and the membership, this seed grew into a giant tree, reaching great heights and gaining recognition as one of the leading professional bodies in the country. Let us now take a few moments to witness the activities carried out by the college in the year 2023.
As we reflect on our journey, it's essential to remember our humble beginnings. SLCIM was founded in 2016 in the historic city of Kandy with 59 dedicated founder members. The united work and the unstinted support from these pioneers have brought us to this point in 2023, where we proudly stand as a beacon of excellence in the field of internal medicine. Our progress is a testament to the unwavering commitment and dedication of our members with relentless passion for their profession. Over the years, SLCIM has been graced by remarkable leaders who have steered the course of this institution. We have witnessed the leadership of our exceptional past presidents, Their visionary leadership has left an indelible mark on SLCIM, and we are indebted for their contributions. A vital component of our success story lies in the dedicated council members of each year. Their tireless efforts have paved the way for the growth and achievements of our institution. Together, they have labored diligently to reach this remarkable point in our journey. Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe and the new council assumed office on the 3rd of February 2023 with the theme of enriching clinical competence with compassionate care. With the help of various members who rendered their services voluntarily in committees, teams, forums, and projects, a vibrant array of academic activities were conducted to uplift the theme. Let us have a glimpse from that remarkable journey throughout the year. In our commitment to serve healthcare professionals across the country, SLCIM hosted 2 regional meetings in Ratnapura and Vaunia. These gatherings were marked by diverse and informative programs that catered to various aspects of healthcare. Our doctors program and nurses program provided valuable insights and training to the medical community. A public forum conducted in both Sinhala and Tamil media was a highly appreciated event that rekindled the understanding and reconciliation between the communities in Sri Lanka. A workshop on point-of-care sonography PCSIM equipped professionals with vital skills, and a dedicated research guide initiative was a cornerstone in fostering a culture of research and evidence-based practice. Peer Learning Forum is a unique activity of SLCIM which enhances clinical excellence among members. It enabled physical mingling between the council and the membership right around the country, establishing a long-standing camaraderie. This year, non-communicable diseases, maternal medicine, and infectious diseases, which are very special and specific areas in internal medicine, were covered during the CME programs in Kurunegala, Colombo, and Galle. Our symposium on liver diseases was aimed at enhancing the knowledge on treatment and management of fatty liver, during which both national and international experts shared their knowledge in best practices and advancements in the field of hepatology within internal medicine. Our academic endeavors have been as diverse as they are extensive, and they cater to the unique needs and interests of our members. These programs included the Senior Registrar Forum, which was aimed for our future internists. It's also provided a space for experienced specialists in different fields to share their expertise and insights. The college believed that the future of medicine belongs to medical students. Thus, we have named SLCIM Medical Students Forum as Future. Monthly exam-oriented lectures were conducted by university academics and senior clinicians on clinically relevant topics. The second Inter-University Internal Medicine Quiz was held recently with the participation of 10 medical faculties. Central event was held at Kandy, which was webcasted to all medical faculties. The proud winners, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, will be awarded tonight. Our therapeutic forum was designed to facilitate in-depth discussions on therapeutic strategies on common medical problems. Discussions on pharmacological management of epilepsy, dyslipidemia, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and osteoporosis were very well received by all listeners. SLCIM Bliss is an initiative from the Welfare Society of SLCIM to improve the well-being of our membership. Wide array of topics including effective parenting, smartphone and tablet addiction, physicians burnout, and Sinhala poetry were covered. SLCIM Clinical Forum provided a platform to encourage the membership to share their clinical experience in day-to-day practice with the peers, which led to thought-provoking and brainstorming discussions. SLCIM Mentor Group was formed to help members to develop professional career and to be successful in MRCP specialty certificate examinations. Postgraduate Masterclass is a joint academic forum of India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan. SLCIM has built links with neighboring countries. Here, a case is presented by a trainee of one country, and a panel of experts from each country is asked to discuss points related to the case presented. This has enabled the trainees to present cases in an international forum. Medical Emergency Training Session, or METS, was meant for registrars in general medicine. This is a Viva-based education program organized monthly. Examiners simulated the exam setting while registrars took part as candidates, and there was a good feedback to registrars on their performance. Many MD Part 2 mock examinations were carried out by SLCIM targeting the long cases, short cases, observed history taking and communication. Most of these were done in a hybrid platform enabling trainees right around the country to take part in. SLCIM recognized the significance of respiratory health in internal medicine. RCIM, Respiratory Support in Internal Medicine program, was designed to equip membership with specialized knowledge and skills related to airway management and ventilatory care. Point of Care Sonography in Internal Medicine (PCSIM) is a testament to our commitment in providing specialized training in point of care sonography. It is a one-day program which comprised of pre-course MCQs, lectures, 4-hour hands-on training, individual case-based assessment, and post-course MCQs. SLCIM Research Wing has organized several activities to promote research culture among our membership and fellow trainees and doctors. Effective communication of research findings is vital to advance the field of internal medicine. The interactive workshop on research manuscript writing equipped our members with the skills necessary to communicate their research effectively through written publications. SLCIM Research Guide renders one-to-one advisory and supervisory services to young researchers in the field of medical research. It provides valuable insights, resources, and mentorship to ensure that research conducted within our community is of the highest quality and relevance. In addition, the SLCIM has provided the platform to conduct many multi-center studies across the country with the participation of our members at different levels of hospitals and regions. Our commitment to the well-being of patients extends beyond academic and professional pursuits. SLCIM Lifeline is a noble initiative aimed at donating medical equipment and medicines to hospitals across the country. This humanitarian effort ensures that healthcare facilities have the necessary resources to provide quality care, even in challenging circumstances. In our pursuit of advancing medical knowledge and fostering a collaborative spirit, the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine has established meaningful partnerships with sister colleges and esteemed medical organizations. We have joined hands with the Ceylon College of Physicians to offer a specialty update in infectious diseases, ensuring that the latest development in the field is accessible to our members. An infectious disease conference with national and international faculty was conducted in collaboration with the CCP. SLCIM collaborated a pre-congress workshop on acute medicine in annual academic sessions of Ceylon College of Physicians and in annual academic sessions of Kandy Society of Medicine, ensuring our members are well prepared for acute medical scenarios. We have collaborated with the SLMA for a monthly clinical meeting on maternal medicine. The talks were delivered by the members of SLCIM Expert Committee on Maternal Medicine. In collaboration with the Association of Sri Lankan Neurologists, we have conducted clinical teaching session on neurology. In collaboration with the Galadari Clinical Society Ampara, we conducted a workshop on research for healthcare professionals. We collaborated with the Ministry of Health for NCD initiatives empowering primary healthcare doctors in managing non-communicable diseases, covering many districts across the country. Furthermore, we have provided advocacy in 2 pre-intern training workshops organized by the Ministry of Health. The interactive lecture on leprosy for the physicians was conducted in collaboration with the Anti-Leprosy Campaign. The College of General Practitioners of Sri Lanka joined us in organizing an awareness program on leptospirosis for general practitioners. The Nawalpitiya Clinical Society collaborated for an update on common clinical presentations for doctors. A symposium on hypertension was conducted in collaboration with the Hypertension Research Center Peradeniya. Lastly, our partnership with the Society of Health Research and Innovation for the Doctors Forum reinforced our commitment to knowledge exchange and professional growth. These collaborations exemplify our commitment to continuous learning and sharing knowledge for the benefit of all healthcare professionals and ultimately the well-being of our patients. Public awareness and media engagement play a pivotal role in our mission to promote public health and well-being. Public awareness and media engagement are invaluable tools in our dedication to improve public health and raise awareness among critical healthcare issues. SLCIM actively participated in a range of awareness programs and media engagements to disseminate vital healthcare information. We have conducted many public awareness programs on non-communicable diseases such as hypertension and communicable diseases of public health concern such as leptospirosis, dengue, and hepatitis. Our commitment to disseminate medical knowledge is reflected in our range of publications. 2 issues of the Asian Journal of Internal Medicine were published this year, which serve as a platform for in-depth research and scholarly articles, enriching the field of internal medicine and providing a platform for the members and postgraduate trainees to disseminate the research to a wider community. Journal Watch provided a valuable summary of the latest developments, helping our members stay updated with medical literature. Additionally, the Pulse monthly newsletter offered an engaging insight into our organization's activities, serving as a vital link to our members and the broader medical community. Through these publications, we strive to facilitate continuous learning, share best practices, and keep our community well informed about the latest trends and advancements in the world of medicine. With the tireless efforts and unwavering commitment of the past presidents, council, and membership, the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine has reached great heights and gained recognition as one of the leading professional bodies in this country.
Thank you very much. I would now like to take this moment to invite Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe, the President of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening. It's with heartfulness, happiness, and honor that I welcome you to the 7th Annual Academic Conference of Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, SIMCON 2023. Chief guest of the evening, Dr. Palitha Abeykoon, 4 guests of honor, President-elect, Association of Physicians in India, and Dean, Indian College of Physicians, Professor Jyotirmoy, joining online, President, Royal College of Physicians, Edinburgh, Dr. Andrew Elder, President, American College of Physicians, Dr. Omar Atiq, and President of Society of Internal Medicine in Nepal, Dr. Arun Maskey. Professor T. Varugunam orator, Professor Arun, the trustees, past President of SLCIM, officials from the Ministry of Health, representatives from RCPE, ACPE, and colleges and associations in SAARC region, presidents of other specialty colleges, resource persons, members of SLCIM, distinguished invitees and well-wishers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, I warmly welcome all of you to the SIMCON 2023. SIMCON 2023 is flagship event in our college calendar. Represents the culmination of the year's theme, Enrich Clinical Competence with Compassionate Care. And we are committed to making it a resounding success. In the constantly changing field of medicine, our core mission is to excel in clinical practice and show compassion in patient care, which lies in the heart of our noble profession. SIMCON 2023 is not just a conference, it's a platform where we can collectively enhance our understanding, share our experiences, and rejuvenate our commitment to the art and science of medicine. The event is organized in collaboration with the Royal College of Physicians, Edinburgh, and the Association of Physicians in India. We are thankful to the American College of Physicians, Society of Intern Medicine in Nepal, ACP chapter in India, Indian Physicians Forum, Association of Physicians of Bangladesh, for joining hands with us providing resource persons. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here for the inauguration ceremony of SIMPAN, I'm delighted to share with you the incredible journey we have embarked upon. Alongside our main Congress, which will be unfolded tomorrow and day after, we have successfully concluded 5 pre-Congress workshops that have significantly enriched our academic program. The first workshop the RCPE, Respiratory Support in Intern Medicine, held in Gaul, was designed to enhance our members' knowledge and skills in critical respiratory support techniques in airway management and ventilation. The second workshop, NCD for Nurses, was designed to enhance the knowledge of nurses in the context of non-communicable diseases. The workshop was organized in collaboration with the Directorate of NCD, Ministry of Health. The main event was placed at National Hospital, Sri Lanka, and was webcasted to 150 hospitals across the country, including National Hospital, Kandy, all the teaching hospitals, provincial general hospitals, district general hospitals, and base hospitals, with the support of our membership. Island-wide, more than 5,000 nurses participated in the program and provided excellent feedback. The college is fortunate to have had an excellent contribution from the main organizer, Dr. Chaminda Kotage, and enthusiastic SLCIM members in each of these hospitals, showcasing a wonderful pre-Congress workshop. During this workshop, we proudly awarded the SLCIM Best Nurse Educator in NCD Care for year 2023. Our third workshop, Toxicology Day, aimed to demystify toxicological conundrums. This was organized with the support of Directorate of NCD of Ministry of Health. The carefully crafted modules on toxicology prepared by the SLCIM Expert Committee on Toxicology were thoroughly discussed. This highlighted the immense value of learning this field in emergency situations. In the fourth workshop, AI Research Reinvented, we explored the power of artificial intelligence in medical research. This workshop was conducted in 4 cities across the country, Kandy, Colombo, Gaul, and Anuradhapura, making it accessible for our members and other doctors to participate from their respective regions. Finally, 5th pre-Congress workshop, PCC, the point of care sonography in intern medicine, conducted at KGU, provided our members a hands-on skill training workshop on point of care sonography. This training can prove to be immensely beneficial in enhancing their ability to manage acute emergencies effectively. These 5 pre-Congress workshops collectively enhance the overall quality of SIMCON 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, today During the ceremonial inauguration, we have the honor of listening to the prestigious Professor T. Varugunam Oration, which will be delivered by Prof. Arun. We are also privileged to have esteemed Chief Guest Dr. Palitha Abeykoon and 4 guests of honor who will convey their greetings and messages. The main Congress showcases a plethora of emerging activities such as How to Pass MD, Grand Ward Rounds, Meet the Experts sessions, multidisciplinary team discussions, plenaries, symposia, guest lectures, veterans file, and case-based discussions. SLCIM research guide will run during the tea break. Additionally, during the Congress, we will host free paper sessions featuring both posters and oral presentations, providing a platform for researchers to share their findings and experiences. Winners of the best post and oral presentations will be awarded at the awarding ceremony of the SIMCON. We believe this vibrant and varied program will be of interest to everyone. Our collective aim is to work together for the betterment of patients. And SIMCON 2023 will serve as a catalyst for the collaborative effort. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to the resource persons, organizers of pre-Congress workshops, members of the academic committees, editorial committee, abstract evaluation committee, judges of various projects and free papers, and SIMCON organizing committee for their invaluable contributions. I would like to pay my sincere gratitude to all the past presidents for giving necessary advice and my council members for their unconditional support. However, few council members sacrificed their precious time organizing the SIMCON. Dr. Surangamanilagama, Congress Chair and the President-elect, Dr. Madhuvanti Hettiarachchi, Vice President, Dr. Priyamali Jayasekara, the Treasurer, Professor Chamara Dalugama, and Dr. Kolitha Jayasundara, 2 Joint Secretaries, worked tirelessly to make this a wonderful academic event. The secretarial assistance given by Ms. Chintani, Dr. Ruangi, Dr. Nishali, Dr. Shaila, and Dr. Vishani are appreciated with much gratitude. This journey of knowledge and skill enrichment sets the stage for a remarkable SLCIM event. I extend my warmest welcome to you and look forward to a Congress filled with learning, collaboration, and growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 guests of honor gracing SIMCON 2023, representing 4 esteemed colleges. Professor Andrew Elder, the President of the Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh, Professor Omar T. Atiq, the President of the American College of Physicians, Professor Jyotirmoy, President-elect, Association of Physicians, India, and Dean of the Indian College of Physicians, and Professor Arun Maskey, the President of Society of Internal Medicine of Nepal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the address by our first guest of honor, Professor Andrew Elder, President of the Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh. Professor Andrew Elder is the first geriatrician to become the President of the Royal College of Physicians of Edinburgh. Educated at Edinburgh Medical School, he has been an NHS consultant in medicine for older people since 1993, and in 2015 was appointed as an honorary professor at Edinburgh Medical School. Recognized as an expert in the teaching and assessment of clinical skills, Professor Elder has taught or assessed bedside clinical skills in over 20 countries and lectured in 15 in the past 7 years, and held leadership positions in medical education at national and international levels, most notably as the medical director of MRCP UK from 2013 to 2018. In 2021, he was awarded Mastership of the American College of Physicians, becoming the first doctor practicing in Scotland to attain this honor since its inception in 1923. He believes that compassion, communication, and core clinical skills remain fundamental to high-quality care and therefore have prime importance in contemporary medical education. Professor Andrew Elder will now join us virtually. Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good day, everybody, and thank you very much for the introduction and the invitation to speak at this SIMCON 2023 meeting. I'm terribly sorry I can't be with you in person. As you know, I visited Sri Lanka last year, and I plan to be there again next year. I've been asked to speak about clinical skills for physicians in 8 minutes, and I'll do that with about a dozen slides. And I think it's a very, very important question at the moment to consider what skills a physician needs. And I say that because we're increasingly trying to think about what ways technology might replace some of the things doctors do, but also what other healthcare professionals might replace in the role of the doctor. So the whole issue of what is a doctor, specifically what is a physician, I would argue, is a very important one. As we go through this, I wanted to bear in mind what people actually look for in their doctor. What do our patients want? What skills do they want their doctor to have? So here's two surveys, one on the left from the USA, one on the right from the United Kingdom, a word cloud format. The bigger the word, the more often the survey respondent used it. And there's lots of familiar words jumping out at you there, and I'll be addressing some of them. One of them is knowledgeable or knowledge, and knowledge is a skill. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about knowledge to begin with. Here's Samuel Johnson way back in the 1700s pointing out something that's very relevant today, and that is that there's two types of knowledge: that which we carry in our heads and that which we know where to find when we need it. We live at the moment in a medical infodemic. There is more and more information available, and none of us, even when we're super specialized, I would argue, can carry all of it with us in our heads. So as well as the skill of knowing what we should carry and being able to carry it in our heads, we need the skill of being able to access it. And that means online access of information. I don't have the time to show you the studies that there are of what online resources doctors use and how good they are or otherwise at using them, but this is definitely an issue for us: how we access knowledge, how we keep ourselves up to date in our clinical practice. That is a skill. But whilst knowledge is important, I think, as you all know, knowledge isn't everything in the practice of medicine. And I want to use Sackett's idea of evidence-based medicine here to make that point. The first component of evidence-based medicine is relevant scientific evidence, the knowledge that we have gleaned and know from clinical trials. But it's not the only component of good clinical practice as expressed through evidence-based medicine. We need to set the evidence from trials in the context of the individual patient we're dealing with. And we do that by asking and listening. It's only by asking and listening that we understand the patient's own values and preference and how the evidence that there is about their condition should be applied to them. And I would argue that the ability to do that is gained only from broad and deep clinical experience and will remain one of the great skills of the physician. The skill of asking and listening is also very important in diagnosis. And here's one large study of diagnosis in an emergency room setting in the USA, which pointed out that 1/5 of all diagnoses were made from the history alone, and that 61%, almost 2/3 of diagnoses, were made from the combination of history and examination, more than laboratory tests or imaging on their own did. So the ability to take a history and then think and analyze what you've heard remains a key skill for physicians. But diagnosis is more than just analyzing information given to you. There is also the skill of observation and the curiosity needed to ensure that the information you've got all fits together, and there aren't bits of information that don't fit. And I use observation to lead me really to physical exam, which some people are considering to be a dying art. It can, of course, be supplemented by bedside ultrasound, but the basic ability to undertake a physical exam with some of these bits of equipment I show you here, I argue, will remain important, no matter how much technology we have. As it stands just now, I think the most powerful message I can give to you about physical exam is what I show you in that box. It remains the case today in current practice that if you do not do the physical exam, you will get things wrong. The biggest study on that I show you here from Stanford, with over 200 examples of problems with diagnosis relating to physical exam. Look at the consequences there for the patients that I list. And at the bottom, note that quite strikingly, most of the errors occurred simply because it wasn't done at all. The physical exam was not done at all. It wasn't because there was a problem with interpreting a difficult or rare physical sign. It was that people were starting just not to do it at all. And if that's the attitude we take to physical exam, we will make mistakes and harm our patients. The next skill I have completes Sackett's idea of evidence-based medicine, and that is the skill of judgment. We learn clinical judgment, I would argue, through clinical experience, through seeing lots of patients. And again, what that means is that the breadth and length of the doctor's clinical experience is one of the defining features of the profession. Judgment is not easy, but it is the combination of judgment, understanding patients' values and preferences, and relevant scientific evidence that creates evidence-based medicine, which we all aspire to practice. My final skill or set of skills I've entitled empathy, compassion, and presence. This is a very well-known medical image. It's called The Doctor in Our Time, painted by an artist called Luke Files, and you can see it in the Tate Gallery in London. And I use it even though it's a familiar image, because not everybody understands or knows the full story behind it, which helps me make an important point. The image shows a doctor here with no equipment, no medical equipment, gazing at a young child. And the child actually goes on to die. And it's deathbed, as you can see, 2 chairs put together. But the doctor's attention is focused on the child. In the background, we have the father standing here and the mother slumped over the table in anticipation of the grief that is to come. What many people don't realize about the image is that the artist is the father, and this is his wife. And when asked to paint a picture to portray what a doctor meant to him, he chose to portray his own daughter's death and the attitude of the doctor during the decline and death of their child. And what he said was that the character and bearing of the doctor made a great impression upon him and his wife at the time. That although the doctor knew he couldn't save the patient, he stayed with the child and the family as they declined. And I say all that because, again, despite all the tools that we have, all the technology that we have, it is our presence, our character and our bearing, our empathy and our compassion that influence how patients feel about what we do. And in that regard, I would agree here with Maya Angelou, that her quote is, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." So there's my idea of key clinical skills for physicians that I summarize on this final slide. Again, my apologies for not being with you, and I do hope that the meeting goes well and that you enjoy it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much to Professor Andrew Elder for his insightful words. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this moment to introduce our second guest of honor, Professor Omar T. Atiq, the President of the American College of Physicians. Dr. Omar T. Atiq is a Professor of Medicine and Otolaryngology in the UAMS College of Medicine. He is the founding director of the Arkansas Cancer Institute in Pine Bluff. Dr. Atiq received his medical degree from the Khyber Medical College, University of Peshawar in Pakistan, and did his residency and chief residency in internal medicine at the Edward Hines Jr. Veterans Administration Hospital and Foster G. McGaw Hospital of the Loyola University in Chicago. Dr. Atiq did his fellowship training in medical oncology and hematology at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York and is board certified in medical oncology, hematology, and internal medicine. He was the chair of the Board of Governors of the American College of Physicians, former governor of the ACP Arkansas chapter, and past president, speaker of the House, and chairman of the board of the Arkansas Medical Society. Dr. Atiq also sits on the Arkansas State Medical Board. He is Commissioner Emeritus of the Arkansas Tobacco Settlement Commission, and he served as the inaugural Vice Chair and has also served on the Pulaski Academy Board. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now listen to Professor Omar T. Atiq's lecture virtually.
Greetings, my fellow physicians and colleagues in Sri Lanka. I regret that I'm unable to be with you in the beautiful city of Colombo. My felicitations to the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine for organizing its 2023 Internal Medicine Congress. Congratulations to Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe, President, and Dr. Suranga Manilgama, Program Chair, for their vision, dedication, and remarkable efforts in bringing this Congress together. ACP has had a relationship with the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine since its inception in 2016, when it was founded as a professional organization of internal medicine specialists in the country. ACP is delighted to endorse SIMCON 2023. ACP's global activities and engagement are geared towards physicians like our colleagues in the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine. We are a 161,000 member strong organization with 23,000 members in 169 countries around the world, and we are stronger together. We appreciate our relationship with our Sri Lankan colleagues and hope that over time it would grow. Now, moving on to the theme of this Congress about enriching clinical competence with compassionate care, I would add that is the essence of our being. Most of us dreamed of answering the call of serving humanity, our fellow human beings in distress, to profess our own humanity. We traveled a path to alleviate suffering with compassion and benevolence for our patients, patients who give us the exalted honor and high privilege of placing their life in our hands. They place us on a pedestal that belongs to a higher being implicitly, asking us to rise to that elevated station. In doing so, they help us become a better version of ourselves. That is precisely why the physician-patient relationship is sacred, because it's transformational for both the patient and the physician. In a world partitioned by national boundaries, segregated by skin tones, separated by language and accents, driven by culture, and ripped up by faith traditions, navigating any of those barriers is overwhelming, let alone steering through all of them together. The good news is that the American College of Physicians makes it easier for its members with policies and resources helping address those issues. We've all seen the ravages of illness and injury. It is particularly distressing to see preventable death and despair. Morbidity and mortality for some segments of our society is simply unacceptable. The profit motive in medicine has made healthcare inaccessible to many. Under these circumstances, I remain in awe of your dedication and that of my fellow physicians around the world to their patients. Your perpetual struggle against all odds to provide efficient, evidence-based healthcare is impressive. You navigate barriers and obstacles with unmatched competence, commitment, and a sense of purpose. As a society, we must rededicate ourselves to saving lives with affordable, accessible, and efficient healthcare interventions for all our patients, without exceptions and without exclusions. Our human dignity requires nothing less. The American College of Physicians shall proudly be on your side as you strive to reach your individual and collective goals. As physicians, internal medicine physicians, specialists, and subspecialists, we must work together to reach that aspirational end that is bigger than any of us, never forgetting our intention to ease every human mind of the vulnerability that illness and injury create, especially in those with limited resources, by validating the indisputable human right to health. I'm hoping that many of you would be able to join me in the ACP Internal Medicine Meeting 2024 in Boston from April 18th through the 20th, where together we will learn from world-class faculty in scientific and practice-related sessions, refresh our clinical skills with unmatched hands-on learning opportunities, and make inspiring lifelong connections. I'm indebted to all of you for allowing me this opportunity to share a few thoughts with you. My best wishes to all of you for a very successful conference and congress. Bahoma Istuti.
Thank you very much to Professor Omar Atiq for his valuable words. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to introduce our next guest of honor this evening, Professor Jyotirmoy, who has come all the way from India to grace this occasion. Professor Jyotirmoy is a professor of medicine at the Sagar Datta Medical College and Hospital in Calcutta, West Bengal, India. He is the Dean, the Indian College of Physicians, and the President-elect of the Association of Physicians of India. His fields of interest are infectious and tropical diseases, geriatric medicine, and public health. In the last 20 years, he has published more than 70 research articles in national and international indexed journals. He is the past editor of the Journal of Indian Medical Association and the past secretary of the said journal. He contributed chapters in more than 30 books and editor of dengue monograph and clinical methods in respiratory medicine, mucormycosis. He is also an editor-in-chief of the McMaster textbook of internal medicine, the South Asian edition. He has been member of the expert committee on COVID care, dengue management, the Department of Health and Family Welfare of the government of West Bengal. I would now like to invite Professor Jyotirmoy to address this esteemed audience.
Good evening, Professor Palitha Abeykoon, Chief Guest of today's program, Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe, President of Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, Dr. Arosa Disanayaka, Orator, Dr. Chamara Dalangama, Joint Secretary, Dr. Kalita, Joint Secretary, and all the dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters. This is really a proud privilege to be present in the inaugural ceremony of 7th Annual Conference of Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine. The civilization of India and Sri Lanka is well known for last 5,000 years. In the Hindu mythology in Ramayana, there is a mention of Lankapuri as a very beautiful city like a heaven. So India and Sri Lanka friendship is a traditional friendship, nothing commercial. Fortunately or unfortunately, we have passed 150 or 200 years of British colonial era. Then 1947 India and 1948 Sri Lanka got the freedom. But after the freedom, this subcontinent, whether it is India, whether it is Sri Lanka, whether it is Nepal, is considered by the Westerns as an underdeveloped subcontinent. It is a land of superstition, land of illiteracy, lands of poverty, land of hunger. But time has changed. Whether it is Sri Lanka or India, not important. The people of genetics of this subcontinent has successfully launched the moon mission, where the 7 days back Russia failed. So this is the success of people of the same genetics of this subcontinent. So time has changed. We people of the subcontinent have to raise our head. We have to prove that in the medical field, in academics, in science, in technology, we are the best. And this is only possible if we, the countries of the subcontinents, we work together because we belong to the same genetics. From this thought, we from the API and your people, Dr. Ganaka, initial days, he was at that time president of Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, we thought that we should have a global forum. Especially in our forum, the countries of the Southeast Asia like Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Maldives, India will be present. And immediately we launched the concept, that was the COVID period. Dr. Ganaka, I am very much thankful to him. Immediately he responded. And that time we discussed so many times, so many issues over the Zoom, many times. And we started doing so many master classes for the students. The students from the Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, India jointly participated. And many of the faculties from Sri Lanka participated as a faculty or as a panelist in the discussion. Finally, we formed the global forum, but this is only the beginning. Miles to go before we sleep. And there are some examples. We have successfully launched the McMaster textbook of internal medicine, where as I am a chief editor, but Dr. Harsh is the associate editor. Yesterday, 250 hours lecture video ebook has been launched from India, and Dr. Madhumanti is the editor of the toxicology segment. And this is the beginning. I am very hopeful. If we work together, India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, we can achieve so many things. And academically, we can prove this subcontinent is the best. So with this little hope, I am very happy to be invited in this nice city of Colombo. Hope we will go further. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for your warm words. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now take this opportunity to introduce our next guest of honor to this esteemed audience, Professor Arun Maskey. He is the president of the Society of Internal Medicine of Nepal. Professor Maskey is a professor of cardiology, National Academy of Medical Sciences in Kathmandu, Nepal, and the senior consultant cardiologist of the Shahid Gangalal National Heart Center in Kathmandu, Nepal. We will now listen to our last guest of honor, Professor Arun Maskey, virtually.
dear President and Council of the Sri Lankan College of Internal Medicine, Chief Guest, other guest of honor, and esteemed colleagues. It is with great pleasure and sense of honor that I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Sri Lankan College of Internal Medicine for selecting me as one of the guests of honor for SLCIM 23, the annual academic sessions. However, I deeply regret that circumstances prevent me from being present in person at this prestigious event. Nevertheless, I assure you that my thoughts and well wishes are with you all as you engage in this intellectually stimulating gatherings. Over the past few weeks, I have had the privilege of witnessing the series of pre-Congress workshops organized by Sri Lankan College of Internal Medicine. These workshops have been exemplified the commitment and dedication of the esteemed institution to advancing the field of internal medicine. I have been impressed by the collective expertise and patience exhibited by faculty and participants. On this occasion, I would also like to emphasize the future bonds between the Society of Internal Medicine of Nepal and the Sri Lankan College of Internal Medicine. As neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, we share not only similarity in our medical practice, but also a common experience and challenges faced by people. It is through collaboration and mutual learning that we can collectively strengthen our healthcare system and improve patient outcome. Furthermore, I would like to take a moment to highlight the importance of effective doctor-patient communication in clinical medicines. As healthcare professionals, we must strive to establish a strong rapport with our patients, ensuring that their concerns are heard, their needs are met. By fostering open and empathetic communication, we can build a trust and create a conducive environment for optimal patient care. As we are sharing some cultural similarities, we may have to develop our own way of communication, successfully adding cultural flavor. Lastly, I would like to convey my sincere well wishes for the success of academic program of SLCIM 2023. May the sessions be filled with fruitful discussions, insightful presentations, and valuable networking opportunities. I have no doubt that this event will contribute significantly to the advancement of internal medicine in Sri Lanka and beyond. Once again, I extend my gratitude to Sri Lankan College of Internal Medicine for this STEAM opportunity. I look forward to future collaboration and shared pursuit of excellence in the field of internal medicine. With warm regards, Professor Arun Maskey, President, Society of Internal Medicine of Nepal. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Professor Arun Maskey. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached a very special moment in tonight's program. The Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine in 2023 has been functioning under the theme of enriching clinical competency with compassionate care, as we envisioned that this theme would ensure high quality care at the bedside for our patients. In accordance with the theme, enriching clinical competence with compassionate care among our trainees has been considered imperative, as they are the future of medicine. Last year, the President and the Council kicked off a project named SLCIM Publications to present exam material relevant to the local context for trainees to refer and revise from in a time where there is a sparsity of published material to be used as exam guides for postgraduate trainees in medicine. The new addition to the SLCIM Past Test series is the picture text in radiology for MD and MRCP. The college has been able to utilize its unique strength, a large number of clinically experienced expert members who could contribute as authors by sending radiological images of their own patients treated at wards and clinics to be included in this book. Dr. Kanishka Disanaika, Dr. K.G. Dayaratna, Dr. Shashi Karunaratna, Dr. Pubudu Guruge, Dr. Priyamali Jayasekara, Professor Tilak Jailath, and Dr. Harindra Karunatilaka were behind the success of this book as editors. Let's take a quick look now. Ladies and gentlemen, we take this moment to present the book authored and edited by SLCIM members to the President of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe. May I now invite Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe to come forward for this presentation. I would now like to invite one of the editors, Dr. Shashi Karunaratna, to hand over this book to the President. May I now introduce the next publication of SLCIM as a lifesaver for the junior doctors who are starting their careers as intern medical officers. The Junior Hospitalist, Intern Survival Guide to Internal Medicine. It has been meticulously prepared by a team of specialists in internal medicine who are involved in the training of interns. This book is designed to be a comprehensive resource covering a wide range of internal medicine and related topics. It aims to provide practical, evidence-based information, clinical guidelines, and real-life case studies to help interns navigate the challenges they encounter on a daily basis. Dr. Madhuwanthi Hettiarachchi, Dr. Surangamani Ilgama, Dr. Ushani Varia Peruma were instrumental in making this a reality as editors with the generous contribution from the membership. May I now once again invite the President of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe, to come forward. And I would now like to invite one of the editors, Dr. Madhuwanthi Hettiarachchi, to hand over the book to the President. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, next on the agenda is the address by the chief guest. May I now cordially invite Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe, the President, to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Palitha Abeykoon, to this esteemed audience.
Dr. Palitha Abeykoon is a graduate from the Faculty of Medicine, University of Peradeniya, with postgraduate education from the Universities of Sri Lanka, Southern California, Geneva, and the Harvard School of Public Health. He currently serves as a member of the Global Pandemic Preparedness Monitoring Board and the WHO Global Learning Academy and WHO Task Force on Primary Health Care. Until recently, he was one of the WHO Director General's special envoys to COVID-19. He is a senior advisor to the Ministry of Health of Sri Lanka and serves as the National Advisory Committee on Communicable Diseases. Dr. Abeykoon is a former president of the Sri Lanka Medical Association and was chair of the National Authority on Tobacco and Alcohol and was awarded the WHO Director General's Medal for Tobacco Control in 2020. He was a member of the Sri Lanka Medical Council and currently heads the accreditation unit. He was a regional advisor on human resources and later the director of health systems development and non-communicable diseases at WHO Southeast Asia Regional Office. He also served as the WHO representative to India. Dr. Abeykoon has been a regular consultant in health policy and health systems to international agencies, including the World Bank, WHO, and UNFPA, working in most of the countries in Southeast Asia. He is the recipient of numerous academic awards, including the Dr. Fred Cards Awards, the Australia and New Zealand Associations on Medical Education, WHO Director General's No Tobacco Award, the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Southeast Asia Public Health Education Network, and most recently, the Kazue McLaren Leadership Achievement Award of the Asia Pacific Academic Consortium for Public Health. He holds fellowships from the colleges of community physicians, medical administrators, the College of General Practitioners, and the College of Medical Educationists of Sri Lanka. I respectfully invite Dr. Palitha Abeykoon to deliver his talk.
Good evening, Dr. Kumudini. Thank you for that extremely generous introduction. It sounded too good. President of the College of Internal Medicine, members of the Council, members of the Executive Committee, the guests of honor this evening, Professor Varugunam Memorial Orator, Professor Dissanayake, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen, and friends. First, let me express my sincere appreciation to you, Dr. Jayasinghe, and your council for this honor and privilege of being invited for today's ceremony of your 7th sessions of your college. When Professor Tilak Jailat, some time ago, whom I call among my close friends, called me one night and said that your college had decided to invite me for this occasion, I did not even ask him why. I didn't ask him why a superannuated octogenarian is suitable, they are thought to be suitable for this occasion. But nevertheless, when Tilak asked something, I never refused because he and I come from the same academic cradle of Peradeniya, so we have a close affinity for a long, long time. Thank you very much, but I'm very happy to be here. I'm particularly pleased that today Professor Dissanayake is delivering the Professor T. Varugunam Memorial Oration, because Professor Varugunam was someone who was very dear to me. He was my teacher, he was my mentor, he was my boss, and he was my friend. And I'm glad to recognize Mrs. Thailam and Sita in the audience. Good to see you. Your theme this year, your theme for 2023, enriching clinical competence with compassionate care, is extremely relevant for today's world and even more relevant for today's Sri Lanka. Clinical competence is often taken for granted as a given, and I can say this with some confidence that the competence levels of our graduates are exceedingly high. I think this is even more true of the specialists. I happen to chair the, like was mentioned, the accreditation unit of the SLMC, and we just completed the accreditation of the 9 state medical schools and one non-state, no, state, but I don't know what the KDU is, but it's a state, I suppose. The process we adopt is pretty strict, as some of you know, with high standards which are expected in 9 different domains. They also conform to the expected quality levels of the World Federation of Medical Education. In fact, our SLMC has received the recognition of the World Federation early this year. They are extremely happy with our standards and the competence of our medical graduates, who will be able now, from the stipulated 2024, to practice anywhere in the world after these stipulations come into place, particularly for the US and the countries to which most of our graduates go. Then just yesterday, I was in Delhi at the WHO Regional Committee meeting, and there I met the Minister of Health of Maldives, and he wanted us to come to accredit their new medical school in Maldives. He also wants, and I discussed this with Professor Rajapaksa some time ago, he also wants to get more and more of their doctors to do their postgraduate training in Sri Lanka. And I think there's already a program ongoing. But your theme, to me, becomes very valid because we need to ensure that the competencies are constantly, as we heard one of the guests or one was saying this very eloquently, updated and kept in sharp focus and enriched with regular CPD activity. I'm sure SIMCON 23 will, as your letter of invitation rightly says, serve as a platform for the exchange of knowledge, innovation, and ideas to further advance the field of internal medicine in Sri Lanka. With regard to compassionate care, I think this too is crucially important. In an increasingly commercialized, technology-driven world, this aspect can unconsciously take a back seat. William Osler, the legendary 19th century physician, frequently described as the father of modern medicine, famously said, "Listen to your patient, he's telling you the diagnosis. However, what if the doctor is distracted by technology, or the technology itself becomes a listener? You might have a problem." Technology holds immense promise, but we must ensure that this promise translates into benefits for your patients and bring them also to the table. As Dr. Shashi Tharoor has said very cynically and very bluntly some time ago, not in relation to Sri Lanka's medicine, he said if the patients are not at the table, they could very easily become the menu. So I wish to commend you on the choice of your themes this year. The life expectancy of a Sri Lankan in the year 1900 was about 30. And in 2020, as the COVID-19 pandemic was emerging, it was around 75. Then between 1950 and 2023, the average life expectancy of people living in Sri Lanka has increased from 53 to 75 years. That is a 40% increase that allows people of our country to live an extra 25 years on an average. We are proud and even quite astonished by such achievement. Now, let me ask 2 simple questions. Why did it happen? Will it continue? These 2 questions are obviously very related. The answer for the first will help us to answer the second. I will leave you to ponder on your own answers later. But my own simple take is something like this. The world obviously became a much better place to live in the past 100 years. Understanding why that happened is not so simple, because so many systems interact in the production of health. We have inputs, the best inputs from people like you, clinicians like yourself. They continue to be the major factor. Then we have the basic and applied scientists, the pharmacologists, public health specialists, contributing to the many facets of health and disease. On the other side, we also have social scientists and agriculture scientists, and many others who also make significant contributions. Therefore, to answer the question as to how health of our people improved over the past century is to understand how all of the above experts and all the factors interacted. We cannot explain health and disease evolution through a linear model. It is a very complex system. A friend of mine, Prof. Atiq, whom one of our guests of honor knows in India, who's a physician like you and former professor of cardiology at the All India Institute, who moved to public health, has recently written a book named From Pulse to the Planet. From Pulse to the Planet. Very readable, fascinating reading. He explains how the patient's pulse that you count so meticulously is so intricately connected to the planet. He explains, as Professor Michael Mahmood did earlier in relation to public health, the factors that determine health and disease, which we call the socio-economic and commercial determinants. This leads to my second point. We know that we have excellent human capital, as good as the best in the world. In fact, I was very pleased to know that about 3 weeks ago, a neurology team from Sri Lanka at a congress in Toronto beat 136 countries and won the World Cup. It is more difficult, I think, in that situation than winning the cricket World Cup in a way. So many. And then, I mean, that's not a surprise, because our doctors are so very good. I'm sure you have your own records that you have set in different fields. I'll share a very quick story. I mean, I was not going to say this, but I think it's worth saying this because you are a group of interns, so it's relevant to you. About 5 years ago, I met a very venerable-looking senior doctor at a meeting, WHO meeting somewhere outside Sri Lanka. And while we got to talking, he asked me where I'm from. I said, I'm from Sri Lanka. Then he asked me, Sri Lanka, is that the old Ceylon? I said, yes, that's the old Ceylon. So I asked, who are you and why you asked that question? He said, now I am, of course, away in Israel. I'm in Haifa. I'm the chief of internal medicine in Haifa. But about 40 years ago, for a long time, I was chief of medicine of the Coney Island Hospital in Brooklyn, in New York. And he said, all my interns were Sri Lankans. I got one. After that, I found him so good, all my interns, and I preferred them to the Americans, and I was not very popular there. So much so that one of my colleagues who was there at that time, when he was in Sri Lanka, he told me, Coney Island Hospital, you come to Coney Island Hospital, you meet all the Sri Lankans there. It's like walking across the corridors of Colombo General Hospital. All the people you meet coming for lunch will be Sri Lankans. That's people like this professor in Israel, his name was Atiq. He had induced other professors and spread the word that the Sri Lankan doctors are so good. So all of them made it a habit to take Sri Lankan doctors as well as they could. I mean, that's the story. I mean, it's a true story. I thought I'll spend the next few minutes very quickly, with your indulgence, to state a few experiences on a few key challenges facing our health system currently. I see Dr. Susi Perra there, so it will be twice boiled cabbages for you, but nevertheless, I'm going to say it. These are likely to have an impact. I'm saying this because these are likely to have an impact on the wonderful work that you are doing today and tomorrow. And I was so impressed for a young college like yours, the kind of achievements that you have had and the kinds of services that you have provided, not only to your members, but also to the public, which is more important, really. In our context, we have had the dual challenge of a prolonged global pandemic that shaped the world for nearly 3 years, and the unprecedented economic crisis that we are facing right now. We might even say that there is yet one more pending crisis, the global climate change. Globally, too, we are amidst an unprecedented moment with the Ukraine crisis on one side, the Middle East crisis growing on the other side, and these are driving our common future, including medicine. Potentially another one brewing just behind us in the Indo-Pacific region. Hence, unpredictability is the new normal. And as to how things will evolve, can only be a very intelligent guess. So what then are some of our current issues around us? I'll share a few thoughts on this and then I'll close. You know the context very well. The economy, the estimates of the impact of the pandemic indicated a significant 5% decline in GDP. Now, superimposed on this, we are told that our economy will shrink further this year and perhaps less next year. This double whammy is making our journey out of bankruptcy more protracted than we thought. Then Sri Lanka's healthcare itself is facing some new challenges. Globally, for long, Sri Lanka has been acknowledged as a model country that provided good quality healthcare at very low cost. But we can no longer afford to rest on our laurels. Now we must ask the question, are we ready for the problems of the 21st century? For example, our population projections show that the proportion of Sri Lankans above the age of 60 years will increase from 14% in 2017, and I think around the time your college was inaugurated, to 25% by the year 2037, in a matter of 20 years. Lone parents will soon overtake pensioners as the poorest members of our society. This will mean increase in numbers of men and women in the country needing elderly care in the years to come. Have we realized the significance of this emerging scenario? Sri Lanka has the fastest aging population in Asia, and the Asian tigers, which we call Singapore, Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, have seen this phenomenon before us. But the contrast is that these Asian tigers first grew rich and then they grew old. We, on the other hand, sadly, we are growing older, while I used to say growing richer. But I can't even say we are growing richer. You know, it's a dilemma. I can't use that word. We now struggle with a worrying rise in communicable diseases and increasingly with mental health issues. In an aging population, NCDs can impede progress and even reverse the health gains we have made. That's why the answer to my second question earlier. These are the diseases, as we say in America, these are the diseases that break the bank. They'll be so expensive to run them. As the competent and compassionate carers of this population, you are likely to face some unique challenges to sustain the care they need. But there's always a bright side. There's always a bright side. When in 1978 the world adopted primary health care as a model for universal health coverage, they drew the examples from Sri Lanka and Kerala as good quality low-cost models. Our current refocus on PHC and universal health care is a timely reminder that Sri Lanka is still reaping the far-thinking health policies of the 19th and 20th centuries. This has lent a great deal of resilience to our system. Now let me quickly make some reflections on the key system issues we need to address and some possible responses. To my mind, there are at least 4 key areas which are central. There are many others, but I identified 4 key areas which are central to protect and require considerable reforms in these difficult times. The foremost concern, of course, should be to protect our health budget. This will be an enormous challenge in the years to come, as we see it even now. This year, when adjusting for inflation, the government's total spending on health and education sectors actually fell by approximately 30%. Health should be seen as an investment for social protection and not as mere consumption, which a lot of economics seem to do. We need to collectively influence this thinking and insist on a very positive response. So basically, we need more money for health, and tied to that, of course, we need more health for the money that we spend, which means improving the system efficiency as we see it around us. The second area to protect is the architecture of our health system itself. What should be the future model of health service delivery for us in Sri Lanka? In theory, any Sri Lankan, as you know, can find a health provider within 3 to 5 kilometers of where they live. Yet in practice, gaps in the investigation services, the shortage of qualified personnel, medications, and most of all, lack of confidence in some of these other services persuade people to bypass such primary care institutions and seek help at secondary and tertiary care institutions instead. The PHC-based shared cluster model I mentioned here, Dr. Susipera is one of the authors of this, the architects of that is being adopted in Sri Lanka, incorporates the empanelment of families. You will see some familiarity with some of the other systems that you see, particularly in UK. A gatekeeper role at the primary level, and a referral system for continuum of care with a place for the private sector. If we get this model working right, sustaining the resilience of our well-tested health system would become a lot easier. The third area that we have to protect, obviously, is our health workforce, the health professionals. This is really the key to most other reforms that we need to adopt. The effective working of the system needs an adequate and appropriately trained and motivated health workforce. That's a no-brainer to say that. Sri Lanka is currently below the WHO recommended health workforce density for nurses and allied professionals, nearly about okay for doctors. One little question right now in our midst is, how will the apparent increasing tendency for the exodus of doctors and nurses from Sri Lanka affect our health sector? What can be done? We had a similar situation in the 60s and 70s. I don't think any of you would remember that. When hordes of young doctors emigrated soon after their graduation, mostly to the US and a few to the UK. But the nature of that exodus was qualitatively slightly different from what we see now. In the 60s and 70s, the main factors operating were what we call the pull factors in the receiving countries, and a few push factors which affected individuals in Sri Lanka. Mainly the attraction to work in the US or some developed country. It was a brain drain as well as a brain overflow. Right now, what we are seeing are the effects of powerful push factors due to emerging conditions in the country. So qualitatively very different and more difficult to handle. This will result in both an external and internal migration. It is rather perplexing. Sometimes maybe the government has grasped the magnitude of this yet, but the responses seem to be somewhat lukewarm. I think this is something that we need to be concerned about. And fourthly, I'm coming to an end now, the fourth and the final area that we need to protect will be that of medications and the other countermeasures. Medicines and medical products are at the center of the ongoing health crisis and is always in the news. Not a day passes, in fact, without some controversy on medicines regulation and supply. Some of the interventions needed on the pharma sector include, these are things that you know and that you advocate all the time. We need to strengthen the implementation of the essential medicines list, improve the supply chain, while simultaneously improving the efficiency through rational use of medicines. Further, we will need to increase local manufacturing capacity as best as we could and apply the pricing mechanism very diligently. In the midst of this controversy, a few days ago I heard that there are changes being introduced to the NMRA leadership. This is a good start, but cleaning the origin stables will need a great deal more work to stabilize the system. Let me conclude, Madam Chair. Ladies and gentlemen, I have rambled too long, but let me conclude this way. As a country, we are in a state of uncertainty and flux, and we are passing difficult times and could remain like this for a while longer. Your professional services could also be affected, maybe sometimes even seriously, and people will also face many difficulties in relation to their health care. So you have to give the leadership and make sure that things get back to stability as soon as possible. But we do not all have to be prophets of doom and gloom, not at all. In this inordinately challenging moment, I believe persons like you and colleges like yours have very important roles to play to come out of this predicament. You have important leadership role to influence policy, an important technical role to provide quality and equitable services, and to improve the health literacy of the community, and an important advisory role to guide the policymakers and healthcare managers on the right way to go. If we do that, then I believe Sri Lanka will again be able to showcase our model of healthcare that provides good health, that is accessible, affordable, and above all, equitable and compassionate to all our citizens. Let me now wind up wishing these annual academic sessions of yours and SIMICON 23 all success and more strength to your college to continue the wonderful, commendable work that you are doing now. I thank you for this invitation.
Thank you very much, sir, for your very timely and thought-provoking words. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the moment for the presentation of awards. May I now invite Honorary Joint Secretary of SLCIM, Dr. Palitha Abeykoon, to announce the winners. I would also now like to invite the President of Sri Lanka College of Intermedicine, Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe, to come forward and to take her position.
Thank you. The President, the past President, the Chief Guest and Guest of Honor, Professor T. Varugunam, Orator, Council members and distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to present the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine Awards for 2023. SLCIM Future University Internal Medicine Quiz 2023. Future is the SLCIM Forum for medical students. On the 3rd of October, the Inter-University Internal Medicine Quiz was conducted with participation of 10 faculties of medicine in Sri Lanka. The winners as follows. Third place, University of Kelaniya. Then runner-up is General Sir John Kotalawala Defence University. And the winners, the University of Sri Jyotirmoy. Would the members of the winners team kindly come up and receive their medals when I call their names? First, Hasiti Galhena. Second, Dinul Doluvira. Next, Rasmi Munasinghe. Next, Lamhodan Yoganathan. Next, Pumika Jayawardena. Ladies and gentlemen, the winners team of the Inter-University Internal Medicine Quiz University of Sri Jyotirmoy. May I ask the President of Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine to present the trophy to the team leader. Now we move into the scientific awards. SLCIM Research Grant 2023. There is 3 research grants were awarded in this year. First, phase 1 safety and efficacy of traumatic Venival, that is among the health individuals, and the phase 3 trial efficacy and turmeric as a food supplement for fatty liver disease, that is double-blind placebo-controlled randomized trial, done by Dr. Suranga Ravind Manilkam. The second one is surveillance on antibiotic usage and perception on antibiotic governance and pattern of common infection in teaching hospital Karapitia, Dr. C.L. Fonseca. Next, incidence and the time trend in prevalence of ischemic heart disease and stroke in Sri Lanka, Prof. Chamila Methananda. Now we come to the final awards on the night, the most innovative physicians of 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, SLCIM most innovative physician in 2023 goes to Dr. Roshan Lianage, District General Hospital, Vattupitiwila, for
District-based hospital Vattupitiwala is situated in Attanagalle electorate in Gampaha district. It is the largest base hospital in the district and caters nearly 1 million population. It is the main referral center of more than 10 divisional hospitals and central dispensaries. VP OPD clinic of district-based hospital Vattupitiwala was established in 2015. Dr. Roshan Lianage assumed duties as consultant physician there in August 2020. Clinic was conducted within the very busy and crowded OPD setup. There were no permanent medical officers or no nursing officers. Although the clinic was established in 2015, there were no dedicated space for the clinic. At the outset, consultant physicians shared consultation rooms of MOOPDs. In 2020, a small 10 by 10 feet room, which was designed as a OPD laboratory, was temporarily allocated for the clinic. The same room was used for all the clinical activities. There was only a single table for consultation of patients. Consultant physician had to share it with 2 medical officers. Despite several requests on multiple occasions, hospital administration could not offer a solution due to unavailability of a suitable room and budget to develop a new building. Dr. Lianage decided to convert open patient waiting area attached to the OPD building to a new clinic building with donations. A new clinic building was built, totally depending on donations at the cost of 2.1 million rupees. It consists of spacious patient waiting area, reception, consultation area, consultant room and a pantry. Interior was designed in an attractive manner using modern architecture. The clinic was fully air-conditioned and furnished with brand new modern furniture. Around 1 million rupees was spent. Each medical officer was provided with a separate workstation. A separate office area was allocated to the nursing officer. Total cost was provided by generous donors. In parallel with the building development project, Vathupitiwala Medical Clinic Network was established. Objectives were to minimize overcrowding of the VPOPD clinic, avoid underutilization of facilities at primary medical care institutes, minimize patient waiting time and improve communication among healthcare facilities in the area. VPOPD clinics serve as the apex clinic and 10 PMCUs as satellite clinics. Network provides shared medical care for an empaneled population belonging to 221 Grama Niladari divisions. The latest development of the service improvement project was digitalization of clinic activities. HMIS software was installed with the help of ICTA and Health Information and Management Unit of Gampaha. All the equipments and items required in the project were donated by generous donors. Registration, clinic record maintenance, prescription, issuing of appointments are being done, minimizing paperwork. In summary, Dr. Lianage and his team were able to convert VPOPD clinic of Base Hospital Vathupitiwala, which was conducted in a temporary room without permanent medical officers and nursing officers, into a well-spacious, fully furnished and equipped, almost completely digitalized clinic with 2 permanent medical officers and 1 permanent nursing officer. The clinic has been developed to the grade of an apex clinic of a medical clinic network. Number of active patients has been increased from 300 in August 2020 to more than 4,000 in September 2023. Service is provided to a population belonging to 221 Grama Niladari divisions through the medical clinic network.
With that, we conclude the award segment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the highlight of tonight's proceedings, the prestigious Professor T. Varugunam Memorial Oration. I would now like to invite the President, Dr. Kumudini Jayasinghe, to read the citation of the orator tonight, Professor Arun Disanayake, and present him the Orator's Medal.
Professor Arun Disanayake studied at D.S. Senanayake College in Colombo and achieved the 4th highest marks in the island in the advanced level examination in 1988. He completed his undergraduate medical education at the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, earning second-class honors in the final MBBS examination in 1997. He was awarded the D.D. Jayasinghe Gold Medal for Obstetrics and Gynecology, S.S. Ratnam Prize for Gynecology, and the distinction in Pediatrics. In 2004, he obtained MD in Medicine, rank in 4th in merit. Professor Disanayake received the Vijay Rama Prize for the best presentation at the Young Physicians Forum in 2005. He underwent training in general medicine, diabetes and endocrinology at Sherwood Forest Hospital, NHS Trust UK in 2007. In 2008, he served as a research fellow at the School for Health, University of Durham, UK. Currently, he holds the position of professor in medicine and is the head of the Department of Medicine at the Faculty of Medicine, University of Varugunam. He previously served as the president of the Ceylon College of Physicians and the president of the Gaul Medical Association in 2019. Professor Dissanayake is the international editor of Clinical Medicine, the Journal of the Royal College of Physicians, UK, and a regional international advisor for the Royal College of Physicians, UK. He is an associate member of the Royal School of Music, Pianoforte. He is co-founded the Southern Symphonia, a musical ensemble that performs at medical concerts and conducts music for healing programs. He is a past finalist of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants. During his undergraduate days, he worked as a journalist for the Sunday Times and contributed to the investigations column. He has served as a consultant physician for the Southern Naval Command and received commendations from the successive Navy commanders for his service. I invite Professor Dissanayake to receive the medal for Professor T. Varugunam and to deliver his oration.
The trustees, the past presidents, the chief guest, the guests of honor, the president and the council of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, family members of the late Professor Varugunam, my colleagues from the specialty of internal medicine, my colleagues from other specialties, distinguished invitees. I thank the President and the Council of the College of Internal Medicine for inviting me to deliver this prestigious oration. Professor Varugunam is one of the greatest men of medicine that graced the medical field in Sri Lanka. And it is a privilege for me to deliver this oration. I'm deeply humbled by this honor bestowed upon me. And I, along with my colleagues of the present day physicians, look to the future perched on the shoulders of giants such as Professor Varugunam. Professor Varugunam hailed from Batiklo, had his secondary education at Royal College, Colombo, where he won many prizes in science. He passed the MBBS in Colombo with honors and soon afterwards proceeded to the UK, where he obtained the MRCPE from the Royal College of Physicians, London. He first worked in the Department of Health Services at the Colombo General Hospital as a resident physician. From there, he switched to his academic career by joining the then new medical school in Peradeniya. In addition to his academic work, he, with his late friends, Dr. K.E.D.S. Karunaratne and Mr. Rudra Rasaratnam, started the Kandy Society of Medicine. While he was at Peradeniya Medical School, he helped to develop the new Department of Medicine along with the late Professor Markan Marker, particularly in promoting research activities. After he became Professor of Medicine, he spent his sabbatical year at the University of Illinois in Chicago, USA, earning a master's degree in medical education. On his return, along with late Professor Bibile, he started the Medical Education Unit, which subsequently became the WHO Regional Center for Training Medical Teachers. Professor Varugunam's research covered a wide field, including medical education, where he was the first in the world to demonstrate empirically the value of making students aware of learning objectives. His expertise in research in medical education and internal medicine was widely known to the World Health Organization. They invited him to be in charge of research training in the WHO's new program for research in tropical diseases, which was based in Geneva, Switzerland. Having worked in Switzerland for a total of 10 years, he returned to Sri Lanka, where he was made the Chancellor of the Eastern University, a post which he held for another decade. On his return to Kandy, he continued with his interest in research by chairing the Kandy Hospital's Research Ethical Review Committee. He passed away on the 4th of February 2018. He was a doyen in the field of internal medicine in the post-independence Sri Lanka. Today, we honor the memory of this great man. Just a moment, I think there's a telephone. I'll just leave the telephone. The second photograph, which is here, was given to me by my teacher, Professor P.L. Aryananda. Since I had not known Professor Varugunam, I asked my teacher, so what makes Professor Varugunam so special? And I was told by Professor Aryananda, he inspired us to achieve excellence. Keeping in line with Professor Varugunam's efforts to inspire people, I hope this oration itself will serve to inspire the next generation of internal medicine physicians in some way. History shapes the present, and the present shapes the future. Let us delve a bit into some important historical landmarks. The birth of modern Western medicine. Origins of medicine itself are ambiguous. Historical evidence confirms that all great civilizations developed their own ways of healing the ill. Western allopathic medicine, of which we are practitioners, is thought to have originated in Western Greece. Hippocrates of Kos, who lived in the 5th century BCE, was considered the father of modern Western medicine. Over the next 2,000 years, medical practitioners attended to all those who were ill. Their training and apprenticeship under their tutors was catered to treating all illnesses. The birth of the specialist. Specialization emerged in the early 19th century in Paris. There were several reasons for this. Firstly, a collective desire to expand medical knowledge prompted clinical researchers to specialize. It became evident that no one could keep abreast of all the new developments, all the new knowledge of all new illnesses, of all illnesses. Secondly, the realization that large populations could be best managed through classification according to illnesses. There was also the instinct of self-preservation. Charlatans or quacks had emerged, specializing in manual procedures including tooth extractions, cutting for the stone, couching cataracts, and childbirth. Gradually, trained doctors moved towards becoming experts, and by the mid-19th century, these included man midwives, surgeon dentists, and surgeon oculists. The birth of internal medicine as a specialty. The underpinnings of internal medicine emerged in Germany in the 1880s, when the amount of medically related basic science knowledge, such as physiology, pathology, and bacteriology, increased significantly. The German words, Innere Medizin, is considered to be the origin of the term internal medicine. There emerged a group of physicians who dedicated themselves to applying this fundamental knowledge to the care of their patients. And this differed substantially from the way medicine was practiced at that time, which was mostly observational and empiric. These physicians with a scientific attitude focused their efforts towards caring for and studying patients' internal organ diseases. Sir William Osler is considered to be the consummate internal medicine physician, embodying all the personal and professional attributes of the physician. The birth of the physician in Sri Lanka. As a British colony, our medical administrative structure closely followed that of Britain. Those who passed the MRCP from Britain were appointed as consultant physicians. There was an MD awarded by the University of Colombo, which was considered a child of a lesser god of sorts. This was only an exam with no structured teaching and training. Those who passed the MRCP were appointed as consultant physicians. There were indeed a few cardiologists, neurologists, etc. These were appointments made by the health services considering the training they had in the UK whilst preparing for the MRCP. Birth of the PGIM and the subspecialization in Sri Lanka. The PGIM was established in 1980 by an Act of Parliament to provide structured training supervised by designated clinical and educational supervisors trained by and accountable to the PGIM. The first board certification as a consultant physician from the PGIM was in 1982. In an act of formal recognition of the establishment of subspecialties branching off general medicine, the first consultant cardiologist was board certified in 1984. Thereafter, a number of other subspecialties have branched off along the way. What is the role of the internal medicine physician in modern day medical setup? 1. A global comprehensive approach that enables problems to be identified and a wide array of diagnostic possibilities to be considered. He is the master diagnostician. Treatment of complex problems affecting different organs of the body at the same time. 3. Critical analysis of research reports to determine best treatments for multimorbidity patients, including an appreciation of complex interactions between medications. And fourthly, perhaps what is most relevant and poignantly relevant to this oration, follow their passions across the length and breadth of medicine and conduct research in a transdisciplinary manner to seek out solutions to complex medical problems facing the world today. Multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary. Complex health problems involve diseases affecting multiple organ systems. A multidisciplinary approach is the most primitive. Different experts walk in and do their own thing. In an interdisciplinary setting, they do speak to each other a lot more and try to support each other for a more holistic approach, but still remain in their enclaves. In a transdisciplinary approach, the problem takes the priority or the focus, and we use knowledge and skills in many areas of expertise to meet one common objective: solve the problem. Experts come in, but they are led by the overall multi-skilled person. This oration. In an oration of this nature, a researcher speaks about research they conducted into an area in medicine they have contributed to, support, and develop through their research. When the President and the Council invited me to deliver this oration, I thought my delivery must highlight the transdisciplinary skills in the internal medicine practice, that this should be a tribute to the entirety of the breadth and depth of internal medicine. I titled it, My Search for Meaning, to share with you how my research life dedicated to the practice of internal medicine helped me pursue a wide range of interests in medicine. My desire to find answers to clinical queries from the bedside and find meaning to my life as a physician. I invite you to join my journey of labor and love and stop at 7 research efforts which I felt were important stops along the way. As Maria says in The Sound of Music, let's start at the very beginning. This is in Diabetes and Endocrinology, a publication in the Quarterly Journal of Medicine from 1998. My research mentor directed this research back in 1998, and it was such a pleasant surprise to see Professor Devaka Fernando in the audience today. Diabetes prevalence in the Indo-Asian population is high and ever increasing. Microvascular, macrovascular, and associated diseases increase morbidity and mortality. Prevention usually starts at diagnosis. We do not think about secondary prevention prior to diagnosis. Can there be complications already established at the time of diagnosis? Primary care physicians in defined suburban areas referred newly diagnosed diabetes patients. Hypertension was diagnosed with WHO criteria. Ischemic heart disease with modified Minnesota coding of ECGs. Dyslipidemia using European Atherosclerotic Society criteria. Central obesity with anthropometric measurements. Neuropathy in 3 ways. Neuropathy symptom score, the NSS. Neuropathy disability score. And vibration perception testing with a biothesiometer. Retinopathy, acuity and fundal examination performed by an ophthalmologist. And for nephropathy, albumin to creatinine ratio. And these are the results. We screened 597 patients with a mean age of 42 plus or minus 6 years. Just looking at this, it is evident that abnormal ECGs on Minnesota criteria were detected in 26%, and neuropathy was detected in 25%, and retinopathy in 15% at the time of initial diagnosis of type 2 diabetes mellitus. Type 2 diabetes mellitus is an insidious illness with a long preclinical stage. A substantial proportion of patients had macrovascular complications at the time of diagnosis. Not only that, even the microvascular complications in terms of nephropathy in 29%, neuropathy in 25%, and retinopathy in 25% at the time of diagnosis. The call for population-based lifestyle modification programs for prevention of diabetes is loud and clear in 1998, in 2023. This is a paper published 25 years back, and it is still valid. It was cited 6 times in the last year. It's still standing. Step 2, cardiology and critical care. This was a joint effort with a cardiothoracic surgeon, Joel Dunning, from the UK. Joel, there was a patient who had cardiac arrest following cardiac surgery, and I happened to be in the vicinity. And Joel was very keen to give 3 shocks quickly and then get on with it and then open the chest. I had very recently got certified by the European Resuscitation Council in resuscitation. I carried the badge as well. So I told Joel, look, you have to wait for 2 minutes before the next shock. I said, no, in cardiothoracic, we don't do that. We give shocks straight away, and then if the patient's VF doesn't settle, we open the chest. This led to this very interesting paper. So we wanted to look at, now, in VFRS, the ERC guidelines say there should be 3 shocks separated by 2-minute intervals. Now, post-cardiac arrest surgery, arrest is quite unique. By immediately reopening the chest, the cause could be reversed quite easily. And the heart can be actually massaged manually, and there can be direct shocks applied, not with the usual paddles, but different types of paddles, straight to the heart. And it has been shown in research that the best outcomes occur if the chest is reopened in 10 minutes. Now, if we go for 3 shocks with 2 minutes apart, that will at least take 4 minutes, and that leaves the surgeon with very little time. So we wanted to see what is the usefulness of external shocks. Should we wait for 2 minutes between shocks? And at how many shocks should we stop before opening the chest? And the method that we used was something which had been described as best evidence. We built a 3-part question. In patients who go into VF post-cardiac surgery, what is the success rate of each subsequent defibrillatory shock to obtain return of spontaneous circulation, that is cardiac output? And we did an evidence search, a Medline search from 1950 to that day, using OVID interface, which is a very useful, very user-friendly interface. Embase search from 1980 to that day. All references in sections 2 and 3 of the European Resuscitation Council guidelines, the Cochrane database of systematic reviews, and the Cochrane Control Trials Registry. The outcomes were, there were 486 abstracts from Medline, 352 from Embase, 28 from Cochrane database, systematic reviews, 155 from Cochrane Control Trials, and 162 references from ERC guidelines. We painstakingly went through these and identified 15 papers which were identified as providing best evidence to provide answers for the question. And what we did discover was the average success of sequential shocks after cardiac surgery declines from 77.6 for the first shock to 34.8 for the second shock and 13.9 for the third shock. The fourth shock outcome was recorded only in 1 paper, and it was less than 10%. All the papers were on sequential shocks with minimum delay. Now, all these research papers were just sequential, one after the other. There were no papers which had considered a 2-minute interval between shocks. Hence, that is untested. The conclusions we came to were delay in reopening the chest to look for a graft kink, occlusion, graft occlusion or a pericardial effusion as a result of usual recommended protocol for VF arrest is detrimental to post-cardiac surgery patients. 3 shocks should be delivered immediately and then chest reopened. The current recommendations for this very special, unique instance for VF arrest following cardiac surgery by the ERC is based on guidance provided by this paper. This paper we published in 2007, and even now the ERC guidelines are based on this paper for that particular incident. Reflecting on my research contribution, I think this is the best, the greatest of my achievements looking back. This, and all of this arose due to a casual conversation with a interested a surgeon who was interested in evidence-based medicine. The third stop, cardiology and mental health. This was the interface between medicine and psychiatry. It is very easy for us to come up with the mind-body dualism from René Descartes' time, and this has pulled patients literally apart, this mind-body dualism. And then this research I have done with Harshini, who is a liaison psychiatrist. We noted that the American Heart Association position statement on the management of coronary heart disease calls for routine screening for depression in those on long-term follow-up for coronary heart disease, as its prevalence is high. And the guidance was that when depression is treated, it improves mental well-being, medication adherence, and reduces morbidity and mortality in coronary heart disease patients. We wanted to see if is depression a problem in Sri Lankan coronary heart disease patients on long-term follow-up as well. 288 patients attending the cardiology clinic for coronary heart disease had mental state examinations carried out by a psychiatrist to detect coexisting depression. And depression was classified as mild, moderate, and severe, depending on ICD-10 criteria. And the outcomes were, now these patients, the mean time which had elapsed since the acute coronary event was 2 years and 4 months. Vast proportion were males. But depression was present in 34.8% of males and 79.3% of females, with an overall prevalence of 41%. Severe depression was noted in 13%. And whilst we were doing this, we detected there was undiagnosed anxiety disorder in 11%. Heart disease affects both the body and the mind, not just the body. Mental health issues are highly prevalent in those with coronary heart disease in Sri Lanka on long-term follow-up. Those were the conclusions we came to. Depression and anxiety could be a result of having a potentially life-limiting disease, but they in turn have the potential to contribute to increased morbidity and mortality from coronary heart disease. Poor medication adherence is alcoholism, etc. Those are all contributory factors to which arise from depression. Therefore, we concluded that it is time to adopt routine screening for depression and anxiety disorder in those with coronary heart disease. Now we come to the part B. Now, all of that is well and good, but how do we manage to screen for depression and anxiety in busy internal medicine and cardiology clinics? I mean, is that really practical? The HA recommends a screening with an easy-to-administer, minimal time-consuming PHQ-2 and PHQ-9 questionnaires. This tool can be easily used by a non-psychiatrist. You don't have to have any expert knowledge. By ordinary medical officers in an internal medicine or a cardiology clinic. Depression, but the catch here is depression screening instruments need to be validated for specific cultural settings prior to general use. Therefore, we needed to validate the tool in the cardiology clinic setting to see whether this can be adopted in Sri Lanka. And that was done. PHQ-2 and PHQ-9 were validated with the 286 patients with CHD who underwent PHQ-2 and 9 evaluation. They were also assessed with the MSc by the psychiatry services, which is the gold standard. Sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value, negative predictive value, etc. were calculated. Now, PHQ-2 is for screening for depression. It cannot diagnose depression. The PHQ-2 has only 2 questions. Sensitivity is 100%, specificity is 52%. I mean, it picks everyone with depression, but when it picks somebody, it's not always that they are depressed. The positive predictive value was 61.5 and the negative predictive value was 100%. So if it doesn't pick, it's very unlikely that they will have depression. The PHQ-9 is for diagnosis as well as grading of severity of depression. And here the sensitivity for those two were 95.6 sensitivity and specificity of 76.5, which were very, very good, with a positive predictive value of 59 and a negative predictive value of 96. The positive likelihood ratio was 35. So we concluded the brief and easy to administer PHQ introduced by the AHA for screening and diagnosing depression is an instrument with acceptable validity in the Sri Lankan setting. We have validated this, and the time has arrived, we concluded at that time, for Sri Lankan guidelines to consider adopting this as a validated tool for routine use. This paper was awarded the prize for best cardiology-related research in Sri Lanka for that year. And that was quite interesting to have a psychiatrist and an internal medicine specialist winning the best research in cardiology for that year. The fourth stop, alcohol problems and seeking transdisciplinary solutions. This was published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine, the Journal of the Royal College of Physicians. Here the research team included a nurse as well. Problem drinking, alcohol dependence and alcohol abuse are universal problems in internal medicine setting contributing to ill health affecting multiple organ systems. Alcohol cessation strategies evoke a sense of learned helplessness in doctors, and cessation support services are not well established. I mean, we know the feeling that we get when we try to speak to somebody who is a heavy alcohol consumer about cessation of alcohol. I mean, we feel so helpless. Very often we don't even bother. I mean, you know that it's not going to work, so forget about it and get on with life. The outcomes of interventions and barriers to cessation are not known. Many of the problem drinking, those with problem drinking have coexisting depression, which could be the origin of or the result of alcoholism, and could act as a propagating factor, setting in motion a very vicious cycle. Again, psychiatrist, nurse, and an internal medicine physician, 200 male patients undergoing treatment for other illnesses who consumed alcohol regularly were assessed using a validated J12 questionnaire and a mini to determine the presence of alcohol abuse and alcohol dependence. The validated PHQ-9 questionnaire, which we had validated earlier, was used to diagnose and determine the severity of depression. So we are looking at problem drinking and depression both. Semi-structured interviews were conducted to determine the nature and outcome of the interventions that the patients had had, what did they have and how successful were those. The results were quite thought-provoking. 31% of those who consumed alcohol had problem drinking, either alcohol abuse or dependence. There were no innocent drinkers, were very few. 1/3 of those with alcohol dependence had coexisting depression. 55% of the problem drinkers had no interventions at all during their hospital stay. They said they've been to hospital so many times, but nobody had spoken to them about stopping alcohol. 15% had had brief interventions. By brief intervention, what is meant is some doctor or nurse or somebody has told them, don't drink, it's not good for your health. That's a brief intervention, and that has been shown to work in about 20% of the instances in research. Only 5% had been referred to specialist alcohol cessation services. But even after that, out of the entire lot, only one patient had stopped consuming alcohol after the intervention. Everybody who had stopped had again gone back. So contribution, and interestingly, contribution from nursing staff who usually lead alcohol cessation services overseas was minimum in the Sri Lankan setting. We concluded that the high prevalence of problem drinking habits and depression create a double whammy for patients who consume alcohol. A much more robust approach to addressing problem drinking and wider participation of healthcare professionals, including better trained medical officers and nursing officers, is the only way forward for us. The fifth stop, we go into tropical medicine. Somewhere along the way, perhaps in 2013-14 period, I met up with my colleague, Dr. Rohitha Amaravithana, and then we formed a symbiotic partnership in the southern Sri Lanka to look at some important tropical medicine, especially toxin and toxicology matters. This is a publication from the toxic on green pit vipers. The green pit viper are the poor cousins of the viper family. Very little research has been done on the green pit viper because it is restricted to certain areas of the country and people consider them to be fairly harmless snakes. Though there are green pit viper bites reported from many countries in Southeast Asia, the Sri Lankan GPV, the Trimeresurus trigonocephalus, is endemic to Sri Lanka. GPV is an arboreal snake who rarely comes to the ground. So that is one of the main reasons why people don't get bitten. The snake lives on trees. But it forms an occupational hazard for tea plantation workers in southern Sri Lanka. And you all know that south is vast proportions of land in the deep south are tea plantations. So what Rohitha and a few of us we did was, over a 2-year period, all patients presenting with green pit viper bites to a regional hospital, that's the Deniai hospital, situated in the tea growing region, were analyzed. Now, we had to adopt a very innovative way to identify snakes. If the patients brought the live snakes, Rohitha was the one who is usually on site. Rohitha would look at the snake and compare with all the pictures that he had and would make a positive identification that it was a green pit viper. Of course, we could not. We had to release the snake to the wild. Then, of course, if the patients brought dead snakes, we sent them to the snake lab in University of Colombo. And if the snake was not brought, and of course, if they said they were plucking tea and there was this snake which with them, we would show them pictures of, identify the snake from a set of photographs of venomous and non-venomous snakes found in the region. And the patients would point to the likely snake, and then we would make a positive identification. Clinical features examined and recorded to assess for local envenomation and systemic envenomation, WBCT and renal function tests conducted to assess coagulopathy and nephrotoxicity. This is a patient with green pit viper bite who had a whole limb swelling. And the second photograph shows a hemorrhagic blister. So what did we see? During the 2-year period, we identified 24 patients with green pit viper bites, and to my knowledge, this is the largest series of green pit viper bites reported in Sri Lanka. 2/3 were bitten while working in tea plantations, which was not surprising, and 1 while climbing a kitul tree. So tree climbing for anything could also be a risk factor. All but 1 reported intense pain. 54% had extensive limb swelling. Often they were bitten on the upper limbs and had extensive limb swelling. 38% had local area swelling. 16% had enlarged regional lymph nodes. 12.5% had hemorrhagic blisters, and 8% had coagulopathy in the form of non-clotting 20-minute WBCT, which resolved spontaneously subsequently. Therefore, we concluded GPV bites, green pit viper bites, form an occupational hazard for tea plantation workers. Local envenomation is almost always present and includes extensive limb swellings and hemorrhagic blisters. Systemic envenomation results in coagulopathy. Neurotoxicity and nephrotoxicity were notably absent. Those are the deadly complications of other vipers, but in our cohort, neurotoxicity and nephrotoxicity was absent. The sixth stop is my other passion, medical education, and of course critical care. Here, 3 medical faculties, Ruhuna, Colombo, and Jayawardhanapura, got together to conduct this research. My colleagues, Professor Palitha Abeykoon and Professor Diniti Fernando, were my co-researchers here. Early recognition and optimum management of anaphylaxis saves lives, but gaps in knowledge and practices of healthcare workers are a concern. Intern house officers are often the first contact for a patient being treated for anaphylaxis in the hospital setting. So we want to look at the knowledge, perceptions, and most importantly, the self-confidence of pre-intern doctors who are just about to become house officers within a few months. 385 were recruited to the study, representing all 3 medical faculties. And interestingly, the 3 medical faculties had 3 different types of curriculum. I mean, Ruhuna has the very traditional curriculum with the second MBBS. Colombo has a much newer curriculum, which is, and then of course, Jayawardhanapura has a hybrid type of curriculum. So 3 different faculties, and the tool that we used was a self-administered questionnaire based on case scenarios, case diagnosis, and management. I mean, we did ask them to list out or at least pick out known allergens, and then of course we gave them 10 case scenarios which included anaphylaxis and non-anaphylaxis allergies as well, and we wanted to see how they would perform. Only 16.4% identify all anaphylaxis triggers. So only 16% knew what, when the patient were to mention a possible anaphylactic trigger, that this would be one. Only 7% identified all 10 case scenarios diagnosis correctly as what is anaphylaxis and what is allergy. Only 34% identified all cases of anaphylaxis. 2/3 missed some cases of anaphylaxis, some case scenarios of anaphylaxis. But comfortingly, 98% and 97% identified 1 in 1,000 adrenaline as the treatment and intramuscular injection as the mode of administration. And that was comforting. But when it came to self-diagnosis, self-confidence in diagnosis and managing anaphylaxis, it was 79.2 and 55.6%. And there was a positive correlation between knowledge and perception with self-confidence in the diagnosis or management. At least we didn't have people who were confident who were not knowledgeable. They correlated very well. So we concluded that knowledge, perceptions, and self-confidence in managing this life-threatening medical emergency was suboptimal among pre-intern doctors. Specific areas for improvement, such as failure to recognize anaphylaxis triggers, as well as doubts about the adult and the pediatric doses and the site of injection, the exact site of injection, were evident. Education and training at undergraduate level needs to change to achieve a higher level of competence and confidence among first contact doctors for anaphylaxis management. Very importantly, confidence. We've covered 6 stops, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned at the very beginning, I have taken you through 6 research stops in my life as a physician. Most of these research efforts arose as a result of a query at the bedside. A classic example was that VF arrest after cardiac surgery. The clinical problems that a physician faces are complex and wide-ranging. Hence, my research has tried to cover some gaps in knowledge in a number of areas. The evolving knowledge base and the clinical experience prompts a physician to evolve as a clinician and as a researcher. I started back in 1998 in diabetes, and followed clinical and research problems which challenged me through a diversified research portfolio. But I always felt something was amiss. From my childhood, I had a passionate interest in the fine arts. My parents were English language scholars, and Kumar and Clark actually very often had to compete with Shakespeare and Shelley for space on the study table at home. My middle name, Sampath, actually represents a character from R.K. Narayan's Mr. Sampath, the printer of Malgudi. I grew up with a passionate interest in music, and though it's now all a dim memory, there was a stage in my life where I could actually play Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata on the piano. I never could paint, but hung a Monet in the veranda and wore tie with sunflowers to work. I missed humanities immensely. When the World Bank, under the HEAD project, provided a large grant to research into customized music therapy for diabetes and to study how these outcomes were programmed at molecular level with microRNA changes, it finally helped me to bridge the vast gap between science and the art of medicine. I had the exciting opportunity to get together with musicians, some are here today, psychiatrists and molecular scientists, again they are with us today, to engage in this endeavor. This is my 7th and perhaps the final stop. Shakespeare wrote about the 7 ages of man. This oration is my rendition of 7 ages of my life as a physician. These are a few publications which have come out from this project. I wish to draw your attention to one aspect of this. MicroRNAs are small non-coding RNAs which post-transcriptionally modulate gene expression related to onset and progression of diseases. Under or over-expression of microRNA profiles have been used as non-invasive biomarkers of disease. This process requires identification of stable genes, or what are known as reference genes, which show similar changes in those with disease and those without the disease. The idea is once we have the reference, once we identify the reference genes for a particular disease, then we can look for other biomarkers which change with the progress of the disease. So we chose 2 microRNA biomarkers which have been referenced, which have been identified as reference genes for some cancers. And we wanted to see whether they could be used as reference genes for diabetes care. We obtained venous blood from 11 with diabetes and 20 normoglycemic individuals, microRNA extracted from non-hemolyzed plasma. A complex PCR technique was used to analyze the microRNA. The stability is calculated via an M value. An M value of less than 0.5% is a stable gene. That's what we were looking for. 0.5 to 1 is an acceptable level as a stable gene. And of course, more than 1 is considered unacceptable. And the results we obtained, the M values for the 2 reference genes were, for diabetes it was 0.78, which is in the acceptable range. And for normoglycemic individuals it was 0.9. Therefore, these 2 reference genes that have been identified for cancer can now be accepted as reference genes for diabetes research in the future. The 2 genes were stable in both populations and more stable in patients with diabetes. These 2 genes can be used as reference genes for future research into genetic biomarkers for onset and progression of diabetes. And an oral presentation based on this was awarded the best paper for diabetes and endocrinology at the recently concluded Ceylon College of Physicians annual academic sessions. What next in this exciting project of art and science together? Does music therapy improve diabetes? What are the molecular level changes in terms of gene transcription that occurs with music therapy? What are the molecular level changes that occur with increased perceived stress, and how is that modulated by music therapy in those with diabetes? Ladies and gentlemen, we have collected all the data. Analysis is almost over, and they will soon come out as publications and perhaps form the fertile ground for another oration in the not too distant future. Not my bee, but somebody else. I named this oration My Search for Meaning, paraphrasing the title of one of the greatest books ever written, Man's Search for Meaning, by Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist and neurologist, the Nazi concentration Holocaust survivor who described logotherapy. In my own way, I have searched for meaning in my life as a doctor. My chosen specialty of internal medicine has led me to some of the most wondrous corners of medicine. I stand before you as a proud member of the internal medicine physician community. I hope my journey has inspired some of you to take a similar all-round path in medical research. I wish to acknowledge some people who have guided me along the way and in my work, as well as, of course, the president and the council of the SLCIM. My teachers at D.S. Nayaka College, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. My clinical teachers, educational supervisors during specialist training, especially Professor Devaka Fernando, my research mentor. He's here. I'm very proud that he's here. Late Professor Dayasiri Fernando, Professor Mohan De Silva, Professor P.L. Aryananda, Professor George Thompson, and Professor Pali Hanjini. My co-researchers and my research assistants, patients who have taught me all that is in the books and that which is not. Medical students and postgraduate trainees who have helped me fine-tune my knowledge and teaching skills. I'm eternally grateful to the medical students. My late parents, Dharma Sena and Indrani Disanayaka, who inculcated an interest in humanities in me and taught me to write in English. My wife, Harshini, my children, Desh and Dili, who've been ever supportive in all of these efforts. And some of my seminal work has been with Harshini. Those others, not mentioned by name here, who truly care for me, who have encouraged, supported, stood by me in my search for meaning, and been with me through the darkest clouds and the sunniest days unflinchingly. My colleagues in general internal medicine. The world is facing many complex medical problems, and to me, the only sustainable, long-lasting solution would come through transdisciplinary seeking of solutions. And in a transdisciplinary approach, the internal medicine specialist or the physician will be the leader of the pack. He will be the general of the army, the general who leads the army. Of course, our brilliantly gifted, most knowledgeable specialist colleagues will be there to form a cohesive solution with you. But you need to take leadership in seeking the solution because you are the multi-skilled person. If you fail in your duty, the health system will get fragmented. Patient care will get fragmented. Patient is also likely to get fragmented. I have the greatest respect for my subspecialty colleagues. They are the Sachin Tendulkars and the Muttaya Muralidharans of this world. We, the internal medicine specialists, we are the mercurial all-rounders. We are the Gary Soberses, the Keith Millers, the Mike Proctors, the Imran Khans, the Jack Callisers, and the Ben Stokes of this world. We are the ones who should lead our teams to victory. May I invite you to join, to jump on this magic carpet and join my joyride towards a whole new world. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you very much, sir. Just as you started out with the hope of inspiring the next generation, I think you achieved just that. Thank you very much for your extremely stimulating and invigorating words. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have now almost reached the conclusion of tonight's proceedings. To acknowledge all those who worked tirelessly to make this evening a success, I would now like to invite Professor Chamara Dalugama, the Honorary Joint Secretary of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As the Joint Secretary of the Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine, I am honored to propose the vote of thanks for the inauguration ceremony, SIMCON 2023. First and foremost, I would like to convey our gratitude to Dr. Palitha Abeykoon for gracing this occasion as the chief guest. Secondly, I would like to express my gratitude to Professor Arosha Disanayake for delivering the prestigious Professor Varugunam Memorial Oration. I would like to thank Professor Andrew Elder, President of Royal College of Physicians, Edinburgh, Professor Omar Atiq, President, American College of Physicians, and Professor Arun Maskey, President, Society of Internal Medicine of Nepal, for their virtual participation as guests of honor. I would like to thank Professor Jyotirmoy, President-elect of the Association of Physicians of India, for coming all the way to grace this occasion as the guest of honor. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the presidents and other officials of all the professional colleges for accepting our invitation and gathering here. My sincere gratitude is conveyed to the Director General of Health Services, Deputy Director General NCD, Director NCD, and Director Nursing for collaborating with us in the pre-Congress workshop for nursing officers on NCD care. My special thanks and respect go to all the resource persons and chairpersons of the scientific program for their valuable contribution. My heartfelt gratitude extended to all members in the council, including Dr. Suranga Manilgama, Congress Chair, Dr. Madhuvanti Hettiarachchi, Vice President, Dr. Priyamali Jayasekara, Treasurer, and Dr. Palitha Jayasundara, my Joint Secretary, and all the members of Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine. You are the strength behind the success of this event. We were able to launch 2 books from the college today. I would like to thank all the authors, editors, and contributors for their hard work on this great achievement of our beloved college. I would like to thank all the contestants who applied for the SLCIM and SIMCON awards and congratulate the winners for their achievements. I pay my heartiest gratitude to all the judges who helped us to select the winners. I thank all the universities for participating in the SLCIM Future Quiz and congratulate the winners. I thank the University of Jayawardhanapura, the winning team, for being with us today to collect the trophy and the medals. This year, we received an overwhelming response for the calling of abstracts for pre-paper sessions of SIMCON. I thank all the authors for submitting their abstracts. I especially thank our 2 journal editors, all the judges, the reviewers for their massive contribution to make this free paper session a success. I would like to thank the college editors and the team for meticulously compiling the conference proceeding book of SIMCON 2023. In the process of organizing SIMCON 2023, graphic designing was a huge task for us. There is a very special person who eased our nerves with his help. It's Mr. Dishan Fernando, who voluntarily contributed his expertise to design all graphic perks of SIMCON, from poster to an attractive video wall. I especially thank Mr. Saman Disanayake for facilitating this process. Thank you, Dishan and Saman, for your priceless contribution. I thank Mr. Rodney Hunukumbura, Mr. Samita Punchiheva, Mr. Sanjeeva Madhyarambegedara for continuously helping us throughout the SLCIM activities. I would like to thank Impress Events for the event coordinator of SIMCON 2023 for working with us for this highly successful program. Thank you, Mr. Nalina and the team. I would like to specially thank Mr. Nishant Attapattu for designing and hosting the college website. I wish to thank Mr. Amal Ranavaka, our official photographer, and his team for covering this event with beautiful captures as usual. My special thanks go to staff of Hotel Galadari for hosting SIMCON 2023. My heartfelt thanks go to Dr. Shaila, Ruwangi, Nishali, Vishwani, and Mrs. Chintani, our office staff, for their tireless effort over the past few months in order to make this event a success. I also would like to thank Dr. Kalani Kulatilaka for comparing this event and for all the ushers for their valuable contribution. SIMCON 2023 is a mega event, which would not have been a reality without the generous contribution of our sponsors. On behalf of the college, I hope to thank all the sponsors who helped us amidst the economic crisis of the country. So please let me read the list of our sponsors. Diamond sponsors, Searle, George Stewart, Farmio. Platinum sponsors, Cipla, Inventia, CCL Gets. Gold sponsors, USP, PNG, Celogen, Pharma. Silver sponsors, Boehringer, Imidra, Servier, Pfizer, Nordics. Bronze sponsors, Torrent, Acme, Truic, Eli Lilly, Dali Butler, Sun Pharma, Principal Healthcare, IPCA, Hilton, Calbe, FineCure, Morrison, Genbert, and Wockhardt. Brass sponsor, Dr. Reddy's. Other sponsors, CI Holdings and Mega Pharma Cardiac Division. My vote of thanks is not complete if I don't thank all of you for accepting our invitation and gathering here. Ladies and gentlemen, established in 2016, Sri Lanka College of Internal Medicine has come a long way. Our calendar of 2023 has been a busy one. SLCIM Team 23 has worked hard to achieve the goals set out at the beginning of the year. This success was due to teamwork, resilience, and good leadership, and we thank all those who have helped us through this year. Thank you very much and have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of tonight's proceedings. Thank you very much for your presence and for being a wonderful audience tonight. We truly hope that you will have a productive conference at SIMCON 2023 in the coming days. Please rise as the ceremonial procession leaves the main hall. You're also warmly invited to join us for fellowship and refreshments afterwards. Thank you very much, take care, and good night.